Hello, everyone. Welcome back to AWS reInvent in Las Vegas. I am James Spencer, PSA here at AWS, joined with my co-host, Jeff. We are talking about cost optimization right now. Lots of it. And we're going to be diving deep into cost and usage dashboards. More of it.
Yeah,
And
what's
joining us.
interesting,
Oh, sorry.
these
Sorry. Go
last
ahead,
few
Jeff.
segments have been about features that are being added to all of the cost and usage tools, and we've hit on it just a little bit, but being able to take that data and maybe move that into a different tool, um, that's what this is going to allow us to do. So let's introduce Zach. Zach, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me today. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, sounds
You
good. Do
sound
you want to?
wonderful.
All right.
Yeah, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure thing. So my name is Zach Erdman. I'm a product manager working in the commerce platform, and I've been focused on building tools to help AWS customers better understand their costs at AWS.
Nice. Awesome. And and cost, we're always talking about, we just went over cost optimization. We need a way to see what we're doing, I think. Like, if we can't really tell, like, we can have a bunch of numbers, that's cool. It helps
Yep,
when we can actually visualize that stuff, give it to people, the people that make the decision, show them some charts maybe, and be like, hey, look, it's right here.
that's right. Yeah.
Cool.
And yeah, so today I'd like to talk about two new releases that our team has been working hard on. One that you guys have already mentioned is the cost and usage dashboard powered by QuickSight. So teams today will need to stand up their own infrastructure in order to be able to build visualizations that they can share with their stakeholders. And we've built a way to, just with a series of simple clicks in the AWS management console, be able to quickly deploy one of those and be able to share it with their stakeholders. The second is a feature that's called data exports, which is really targeted at the data engineers who are AWS customers that are responsible for ingesting the cost and usage data that AWS provides. And if you're not familiar with this data, it can be very large if you're a heavy user of AWS, to the point where you actually need to build data pipelines, use advanced tools like Spark and things like this to process it and to create your own custom visualizations. And data exports is a new way to receive the cost and usage report, and to be able to do that in a very reliable, consistent way where you actually have control over it using languages like SQL. So kind of targeting some of the things that the languages that data engineers are very familiar with today.
So what you're saying is not everyone is okay. They already have their own set in their ways, and this will just allow them to continue on and build upon those.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the data exports feature is for folks that already have their kind of own pipelines to ingest that cost management data, to then build their own visualizations from it. Whereas the cost and usage dashboard is a way that for customers who are like, you know what, actually I don't want to build my own data pipeline in order to manage my costs, but I want a really nice and rich visual that I can share with folks who maybe don't have access to the AWS management console. We just heard from Prachi about Cost Explorer, which is a wonderful tool, but the reality is that at many AWS customers, there's folks that need to see their cost and usage data, but they're not going into the AWS management console. Think certain financial analysts, CEOs. Maybe you don't want them poking around in the console. And the QuickSight dashboard is a way to be able to quickly create one of those visuals with just a few simple clicks, and for them to be able to see these visuals without having to go into the AWS console.
Yeah. People, with the privilege? I can't think. The principle of least privilege. I don't know if I want my non-technical people poking around the AWS console.
Yes,
Yeah, but you know
absolutely.
what? At the same time, I want to create some nice and easy, reliable visuals for my non-technical people who are sometimes making decisions. So it's the best of both worlds, making sure they get that data and can make decisions based off it, even if they don't need data. So that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys would like, I've got a demo
I'd like James. How about
so
you?
we can put some visualizations to what we're talking about today.
I'm all about the demos.
All right.
What's that song?
So like I said, there's really two things that I want to show today, and they're all actually accessible via the same console page. So this data export screen that we're looking at right now. And there's the, you can kind of almost think of it, the advanced user path, and then the just simple, couple clicks and give me a dashboard really quickly. So one important set of background that I didn't talk about yet is today, we provide the cost and usage report, which is it's not really a report, it's more of an export of just raw data, and we provide to the customers, and we know they have challenges receiving it because the schema of it can change over time. The files can be enormous, in the hundreds of megabytes to hundreds of gigabytes in size. And they don't have a lot of control over it. And so data exports is a way for data engineers to be able to go in and use SQL to specify exactly what they want and to be able to receive that very same schema, the same data content every single time to make data ingestion easier. And so in the data exports console is where we show all of the exports that a customer has. And so when you log in, you'll see three main things that I'd like to highlight here. The first is a standard data export. This is the export that I just described. It's the new way of receiving it. The second is the cost and usage dashboard, which is also in this export type, which we'll talk about as well. And the third is any of your legacy cost and usage report exports. So now this is one place to go and easily manage all of the different exports, billing exports that you might be receiving from AWS. So I'll just go through a workflow really quick first of how you would create a standard export. So I'll click create at the top right of the screen, and I'll see these three different exports that I just described: the standard, the dashboard, and the legacy. We'll stick with the standard first. So I would give my export a name, such as my sample export. As of now, we're just providing the new Cur 2.0 table. The Cur 2.0 table is going to be exciting for customers because not only does it have the same data that we provided previously, but we're also providing new data that customers have been asking us for. Two examples are the name of a payer account and the name of a link account that's associated with a line item that is existing in the Cur. And the nice thing about this export as well is that it's fully backwards compatible with the Cur today. So all of the customers who have been building these pipelines that I mentioned to ingest this data, they will be able to make exports of the Cur 2.0 that are fully compatible with those pipelines. So they won't have to go in and restructure their data pipelines.
Yeah, really quick, Zach, just for our viewers, in case they don't know, Zach is saying Cur, and if you're not reading it on the screen, you sometimes say Cur for cost and usage reports, CUR.
Yeah.
Just to make sure,
Yes.
not to lose anybody.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, I talk about the Cur way too often that I forget that that's not a common acronym in for everybody. So I'll be able to select, what data that I want included in my cost and usage report, my Cur, the time granularity, and this is something that we're excited about here, where now I can actually go and say what columns I want, and so now I can be certain that I will get the same columns every time. They won't be changing on you, and so your data ingestion pipeline won't need to respond to a changing schema of input data. And as I mentioned, we also have an API experience where you can actually write your query. The console is designed to try to smooth out the friction of having to write code. But if you want to, we provide a preview of the query that we're generating for you via these selections that you're making. And you can copy this, share it with your teammates. You can bring it, go to the SDK, go to the CLI, and create your export that way, or just keep it for record keeping as well. But then I go down to data table delivery options. So I see how often that export is going to be refreshed. So it's going to be refreshed at least 1 time per day to make sure that your visualizations are populated with the latest data. I can select the data format, Parquet or CSV, depending on what tools I'm planning to process this data. And I can select the file versioning, whether I overwrite or not. In the interest of time, I'll kind of speed through some of the rest of this, but I can select the S3 bucket where it's going to be delivered to, and make sure that a policy is being applied so that the service has access to that S3 bucket. I give a prefix or what directory this is going to be stored in, and I click create. And that's it. Now I'm going to have an export that gets delivered with exactly those same columns and to my S3 bucket. And I can see some information on this dashboard about when it was last refreshed. That's the timestamp, when I created this export. And I can go back at any time and view the details of what I selected and even update. Maybe I want to change some of the columns that I've selected or things like this. So getting out of the edit mode.
Yeah, it looks good, Zach. And something that James mentioned earlier about that concept of least privilege. Cost and usage reports are can only be run out of like the master payer account, we typically say, or maybe like the top of an AWS organization structure. And obviously, you don't want, while you want a lot of people to have cost and usage reports, you don't want everyone to have access to that master payer account or that top of the AWS organization. So as James was mentioning, this is important, and I can see how these exports will allow us to push that data out to the people that we do want to have that particular data. Can you talk more about the security considerations, or things that this allows or makes easier with keeping security in mind with that whole concept?
Absolutely. So one of the major sort of use cases that data exports is targeting is the ability to filter out data that you don't want certain downstream stakeholders to see. So a payer account might contain many different linked accounts that are serving different applications. They might include other sensitive cost information like certain discounts that a organization might be receiving. And with the ability to use SQL to select columns, to filter out different rows, you can create customized cost and usage report exports that contain only the data that a particular stakeholder, a particular business unit should be able to see. And so you can make sure that any sort of sensitive cost information is not seen by users that shouldn't see it.
Nice. And I have a question. I'm a partner solutions architect, so I'm always curious about for these exports. Say we mentioned people using SQL because they already know SQL. If a customer is already using one of our partner solutions for analysis, would they be able to export into maybe one of those?
Yeah. So because our exports are fully backwards compatible, we say, with the cost and usage report today. Customers will continue to be able to create an export, be able to send that to a third-party solution, and we expect that will continue to evolve. The third-party solutions will continue to evolve as we enrich the data that we're providing through data exports.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, Zach. So you had mentioned. I'm sorry, James, did you have something?
Oh no, you're good.
No, that was me. Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say you mentioned 3 of these exports. Looks like we did the standard one first.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's go to this dashboard to see what this is like.
I would love to. Yes. So I'm going to go. I just clicked back on create. So we're back at the create page again, and we're looking at our 3 different options here. I think we could just focus on the first 2. The legacy one, customers should already be familiar with. So this is one that we're super excited about, the cost and usage dashboard provided by QuickSight. we're excited about this because it's building on something that we offered called the Kudos dashboards, which are some dashboards that we provided via CloudFormation templates for customers to be able to visualize and their spend at a very detailed level. And while we received really positive feedback from customers that these were really helpful, it was one of the only tools that they needed to manage their spend. It was sometimes challenging for them to set up because they have to, deploy some infrastructure, and that takes effort and time and money. And so now with the cost and usage dashboards through data exports, you can get a very similar dashboard without all that extra effort. And what we're looking at right now is a one-page form to fill this out. And if you fill this out, you will get a dashboard. And we'll just go through and show how simple that is. So I'll call this, I give my dashboard a name. I have to set up QuickSight. So if I've already got QuickSight enabled for this account, but if I didn't have QuickSight enabled, I could go have a link here to create a QuickSight account. I have to specify my username. And if I didn't know my username, there's a link here that would go and show you how to find your username, what region I want my QuickSight dashboard to be deployed in. Because we're making this as seamless as possible, there's some data content settings that we are just hiding, but if you want to take a look at them, you can view them there. They're read-only fields. I specify what bucket I want my S3 bucket, my data to be stored in. I have to, apply my policy again. I give a permission to QuickSight to access that S3 bucket. That's a service access down here. And then I can specify any tags. If I could click create now to create the dashboard, and it would just go. But like some of our things in cost management, it takes a while for our data to actually populate. And to avoid making you guys do more tap dancing, I'd like to just show a dashboard that we prepared in advance. So let's leave this page here. And am I able to switch tabs very easily? I don't know if the folks helping out.
I would just bring it into that same screen that you're sharing.
It's in the same window. It's just I need to switch tabs. Maybe I just need to stop sharing and then share again.
Go ahead.
As a side note, I love those classic names. My dashboard, my my sample, username. Those are classics.
Yeah. Okay. I've got the new screen up.
Oh, okay.
All right. So we're looking at the first page of the dashboard, and there's a couple cool things that I'll just reiterate again about this. This gives you some, getting started tips, table of contents of how this dashboard's broken down. You can see it's broken down into an executive summary to individual service categories, and each of those provide detailed analyses of what data is contained within there.
So Zach, when you set this up, is this a complete cost and usage report for the, you didn't mask anything. That's why there's like all of those segments there in the table of contents, right?
That's right. Yeah. And I did a little bit of magic there of just magically coming to this, but this is exactly the dashboard that you would see.
We've done the cooking show before. You mix up the ingredients and then you pull out the dashboard. We've done that.
Yeah. But I want to make clear that like this is what you get if you go through that simple one-page workflow. All of your cost and usage data begins to appear in this dashboard, where you get to see a summary of your spend with the past 3 months, the past 2 months, detailed breakdown by different accounts. I can go up to the top here and I can filter by the many different linked accounts that might be existing in my account. And then, as I mentioned before, we can also go do these deeper dive breakdowns into compute costs, storage costs, and so forth, databases. So this is a really powerful tool that again, I'll reiterate that you don't need to access the cost management, you don't need to access the management console to view. So I can use QuickSight's native features to share this with people just via email, and they can go access it without having to go poke their fingers around in the console.
Yeah, not having to worry about an IAM account, credentials, or passwords that
Yes.
could get compromised. But you need to get this data to people, and this sounds like it works out really well.
Yep, that's right. And for the advanced users that aren't maybe satisfied with just the dashboard that they've prepared, they can create their own analyses building on our dashboards to add their own organizational data, to create new visualizations, and to enrich this beyond something that maybe we've already prepared for them.
Yeah, what's
So they get
interesting,
the full capabilities of QuickSight today, basically.
yeah, and we see on the screen dashboard version 101, and I kind of got confused there for a second because you were showing us cost and usage report version 2, but that's the curve version 2. This is the dashboard showing the curve, basically making a dashboard of the cost and usage report. So if viewers were looking at the versions like, wait, he said it was version
Yeah.
2 and now we're seeing version 1. This is the dashboard. This is version 1 of this QuickSight dashboard that is compiling the data from CUR version 2 to make it easier to see for you to share with the
That's
folks
right.
you can. Yeah.
That's a good call. Yeah, two different things there. The cur is the data itself, and we've released version 2 of the cur, and the dashboard here has its own version. There's a team, the Kudos team, that has been very active in developing these dashboards and improving them over time. So customers can probably expect to see some enhancements to this dashboard over time as well.
Nice. I love the name of that team, Kudos. And so I'm a complete QuickSight newbie. Let's pretend I don't know anything, which
Sure.
I don't. But so you're saying that this all just came from that one wizard, basically like a wizard, that one page. Like we didn't have to set up table of contents, all that. It just pulled
Yeah,
our report. We just typed in the stuff that it was asking for in there, and just bam, filled in everything for us.
that's exactly right. Yeah. So what
That's
our
so cool.
teams have done is when you go through that form,
Yeah.
the console UI will kick off a job from a template, which is this cost and usage dashboard, to create that export, send that export to S3, which contains all that granular cost and usage data. And our template knows to look for certain data in S3 and populate certain visuals and create this detailed breakdown analysis that we've hardened through working with customers on the Kudos dashboards for some time now. And we've basically taken all that institutional knowledge and just encoded it now into this really simple workflow to set up.
Yeah, and Zach, I know you might not be a QuickSight specific. I mean, that's not what you're into the
Right.
financials, but QuickSight, cloud native, serverless kind of business analytics tools to allow folks to make these dashboards in a managed sort of easy way after you have the data. I know I've used QuickSight before. I do a lot of IoT work, and so we like to
Yeah.
build dashboards on various IoT sensors and what's going on. But it's basically a managed cloud native service that allow you to do things like this, which is take a bunch of data and make a very easily shared and customizable dashboard.
That's exactly right. And this, to that point, this was a joint effort of both the cost management and the QuickSight teams to kind of come together and figure out, what can we build to kind of make that transition from cost management data to QuickSight more seamless. And we're really happy with the result that we got here.
Awesome. Great. And chat, tell us, what do you think? Do you like it? I like it. Of course we like it. Anything that removes that undifferentiated heavy lifting, we don't want to have to build a whole thing on our own like that, especially when it's something that can be kind of standardized, but then we can still customize it. So let us know in the chat what you think. Let us know how much you like it. Let us know what you want, the new things you want from it. Awesome. Well, thank you, Zach. Is there anything else you want to leave us with real quick?
Yeah, maybe just two quick takeaways summarizing what I covered here today. So first I talked about data exports, which enables customers to create exports of the Cur 2.0, which is not only fully backwards compatible with the Cur today, so folks don't have to worry about transitioning and switching costs, but it's going to provide more data and more reliability via the SQL interface to create those exports. And second was what we just looked at, the cost and usage dashboard powered by QuickSight, which we think will bring the power of cost and usage dashboards to more customers by making it more simple than ever to build a really detailed dashboard of their AWS costs.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Zach.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure talking to you guys.